when you have Pat McGrath in your list, you gravitate to it like it's a frickin' solar system.
What is you crazy mother?
Hey Glow Beauties, Happy New Year! It's been a minute, I know. It's been a minute, and I'm feeling the itch to share some videos with you. So we're gonna get started. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I never have. However, I have decided I am going to try and make this new year a good year. So that is my plan, despite everything that's going on, despite what we've all been through and continue to go through. It's been challenging. I am going to try and make this year a good year. I hope you Glow Beauties will join me in making this new year, despite everything that's going on, a good year. So with that, this video is my 10 top shelf favorite winter palettes. Yes, it's a bit of a mouthful. It's like Peter Piper picked a peck of whatever. Now, this is a bit of a bougie list. I can't help myself. This is what I gravitate to. And when you have Pat McGrath in the list, you can't help yourself because you literally, anyway, I literally gravitate to it like a freaking solar system, okay? And it is a literal top shelf list because it is my shelving unit that I made on my bathroom counter. So it's a literal top shelf. When it gets like around October, November, the lighting gets darker, it's winter, it's Canada, it gets dark, the days are short. They make it even shorter here because they changed the frickin' timeline. So with that, I need to change up my light, airy, fairy, pastel-y, bright colors and bring in the richer tonal variety jewel tone palettes that I have and make good use of them. So I kind of switch everything out then. Let us get into my top shelf favorite winter palettes. 10 of them in no specific order. Let us get in. Yes! Yes! So the first one is my blue Astral glitter palette, and of course it goes without saying, it is my Pat McGrath. I love cool tone palettes, and when she introduced her Mothership palettes, she introduced the first 3, and this is actually the first in line. This is the Subliminal palette. It is Mothership 1, and as you can see, it's all, now I'm not even used to holding it up because it's heavy. I'm a cool tone girl. I love cool eyeshadow, and it's actually what I'm wearing on my lids right now. And the anatomy, actually Pat McGrath now is doing on her website the anatomy of her palettes, which I think is really, really good because it gives you a kind of a guide, and sometimes you kind of get confused as to what to do or what to use where, and she gives you a really nice guide and anatomy of the palette. This is the section, and as you can kind of see here, if you can see, well, I'll do close-ups. This side here, these 4, this quad of 4, this quad of 4 is the baked formula, and then this one is generally the top one over here is the VR formula, which is kind of is glittery, but it has a base to it, and then you get the VR formula is the virtual reality formula. It tends to be a bit duochrome. It has a bit of a base and it has a bit of glitter. Then this one here is the Astral formula, and this one is the most glitteriest, and it doesn't have as much base, so you can use it as a topper. Both of them you can use as a topper, and then you got more baked formulas here. So these are the ones, if you can see, I use most, and this one literally is starting to get pan over on this side. There's a little bit of indents where it's being held into the palette, and then this is the usable side. She tends to be a bit more smokier on this side, so this is my fault with her palettes because I tend to be a lighter person. I like a kind of a lighter look on my eyes. I don't like a smokier look because I want to be able to wear it every day. And these tend to not be as everyday friendly unless you go in a very light brush. And if you tend to be somebody who's more neutral, this is gonna work for you. But I'm not as neutral, so I tend to go into this one. This is beautiful. This is like a taupey purple, and I have this on my eye along with this one in the crease, and I use a lighter brush and a lighter hand to put it in my crease. I did add a little bit of Natasha Denona into the crease with this, a lighter blue to mix with this, and then I went into this one on the lid, which is a duochrome, triple chrome. It has like a purple, it has a bit of red. When I wear more red, it sometimes shows up more, and it has purple, red, and blue. And then this one is the Astral White, which is actually a blue glitter. Just to let you know, the first 3 Mothership palettes that she did, the Astrals isn't as glitterly. Glitterly? That's a new word. Isn't as glittery. When she continues on, she gets better and better at it, and it becomes more glittery. It will get more textured, and you'll feel a bit of the grit. So this one's a bit smoother, but the other ones, when you get to Bronze Seduction and Midnight Sun, oh my God, the Astrals have a texture to it. They are glittery, and listen, they are literally diamond of the first water, okay? This is what I call it. You know, Bridgerton, diamond of the first water was to say that the girl of the season is the most beautiful and is the most delightful, and it was a term taken from diamonds. It denoted the brilliance of the diamond. The top brilliance of the diamond was the water, and literally her Astrals are diamond of the first water. Because I'm gonna tell you a secret, okay? I have swatched these, not in particular this one, but the ones after the first 3 of the Astrals. When I swatched them against all those wonderful indie brands, Cleona, the glitter versions of the multichromes, the Cleona, Divina, the JD Glow, and the Looksies. I swatched them against all of those. If you don't swatch your Astrals against this, you won't know any difference. You will think those are the most brilliant, the most glitteriest, the most iridescent, but don't you go swatching a Pat McGrath Astral against it. Then you will know the difference. That Pat McGrath is that much more iridescent, that much more brilliant, that much more diamond of the first water, okay? But if you don't do it, if you don't swatch it against that, you'll never know the difference. You will bask in your bliss of ignorance. But if you swatch it against an Astral after the first 3, when you go to Mothership 4, 5, 6, don't blame me, okay? Just don't blame me. Anyway, this is what I gravitate into the winter months, these wonderful fairs. So this is the first one. Sorry I went deep, but this is my channel and I tend to go deep, okay? So the next one is Huda Beauty's Rose Quartz Pellet. It had a little bit of bumpy ride. It slid off of my top shelf and fell on the floor and broke, but it makes it feel like it's been used and abused. So anyway, this is my Huda Beauty, and I love it because it's like my winter wonderland pellet. It's got that kind of airy, fairy winter wonderland feel, kind of like Elsa in Frozen, and it's fun to use because a lot of the shades have those molten marble things, so you can dip on one side and you get it deeper and you dip on the other side. And the cool thing about this palette is it's like 2 9-pan palettes in one. This is a 9-pan palette, and over here is another 9 palette. This is a 9-pan palette that's for like everyday neutral, kind of like a taupey purple Charlotte Tilbury side. And then this side over here is the Winter Wonderland glittery fun side. So I tend to like to play in this area, and one of the looks that I made was doing a halo eye using Cosmic Love. I deep into the deeper part of the marble to do the inner and outer corner. I put Empowered in my outer corner. I used this one, Self Love, in the lighter part of the marble in my center of my lid, and then I used Happiness and Serenity. Serenity is like a taupey purple and Happiness is a lovely pink, and I wanted to kind of lighten up the purple a bit to kind of brighten up the look, so I mixed the Happiness into the taupey purple in my crease, and that's how I made my look. I love this palette because it's fun to play with. It gives you a lot of variety for different looks, especially if you want to do everyday, more tempered looks, and then you want to kind of play it up. You've got this side to play it up. Now, just to let you, give you a little secret, Huda likes to gain direct inspiration from other places. And this palette reminded me a lot of Aether Beauty's version 1 of their, literally the name of the palette is the same, Rose Quartz Crystal Eyeshadow Palette. They did a version 1, which is the bigger version. Huda's looks just like that one. Aether has their second version of it on Sephora's site, but it's a little bit smaller, more concise. This is literally, as if I didn't know better, like Aether Beauty's first version of the palette, except that she bumped it up and put it into like the glitter stratosphere, okay? Whereas Aether's is more the version of the everyday neutral version that you can use every day to go to work and a bit bridal, and that Huda took it, gained inspiration, and bumped it up into a fairy wonderland palette. So I see you, Huda, I see you. But it's still a beautiful palette and I love it a lot. The next winter palette, again, is my bougie Dame Mother Pat, and that is the Midnight Sun palette. Now this is a beautiful jewel toned beauty, and Midnight Sun happens close to the North Pole or the South Pole. In the North Pole it's in the winter, in the South Pole I believe it's in the summer, and that's when the sun comes out in the winter. Well, in the North Pole in the winter for 24 hours, so it's literally the sun is still up at midnight. So this is where she gets glitterier in her Astral. So this is the Astral, and you can see that I've been playing around with this a lot. So this is like my jewel toned playground. These rich ones I play around with, and then I love this. You can see that I don't use these ones that much because they're deeper, as I told you. There's another palette that I like to go into pair with this, which I'll be talking about next. This one I love to use, I can use this as a highlighter, and then these are the ones that I go, and I like to pair these two together. The Astral with the purple. I love to pair the purple. I'm a purple girl, okay? So I like to pair the purple with this, and then I go into this one. This one I like to pair actually with Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction, the red and the bronze seduction. The red and the bronze seduction brightens this up a little bit, and so it gives me a brighter look when I'm pairing these together. And so these are kind of the looks that I go for with this palette. And I want to tell you something about Pat McGrath. When she does the fashion shows, she loves to use her fingers to apply eyeshadow. This is a finger wonderland. You can literally use your fingers with her eyeshadows because her mattes and these motherships blend so easily like a dream that you could literally just use your fingers with the mattes. You don't even need a brush. You can just use your fingers and blend it out with your fingers with her mattes, okay, in the motherships. That's how amazing her palettes are. Love this, and I like to pair this with Natasha Denona's Triochrome palette. And I kind of customized it a little bit because I like to customize. And Natasha's palettes, all of them except for her baby palettes, you can literally customize because they're all magnetized. With this one, you can see the little holes at the back, so you can use your push pin to just push out the eyeshadows. It's so easy. As you can see here, I kind of put in some Cleona. The lighter ones here and here, I didn't really have much use for it, so I figured because I'm spoiled, I've used other indie brands multi-chromes, okay? And this is meant to be a multi-chrome palette. These ones are okay, they're good, but not as good as indie brands like Norvina, Cleona, and I like lighter lidded multi-chromes. So when I go into her Triochrome in the wintertime, like this is like my winter fair mattes, to pair with other palettes. I kind of use this as a pairing other palettes for the winter. I love the greens. You got all these amazing greens and yellows. You got the purples. I got my mix. So this is like my painter's palette. And then I've got my peaches and my oranges down here. And then I've got two Cleonas that I popped in, and that is, I believe this one's grisaille, or one of them's grisaille and the other one's engrave. Okay, so these are the ones that I've got in here, and these are amazing. So the next one is Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina volume, I think this is volume 5. Look at this. Okay, yes, you can see a trend. I do love my purples, and this is a purple wonderland delight. I've got the purples. You can go again neutral. You can get some of the glitters happening. You get a little bit of oranges. It actually kind of reminds me of the Natasha Denona Triochrome, actually. Yeah, coming following right after, and you even get a nice little gray here. So these are really fun to play with. You get a lot of lovely looks, and it's just a great variety, and you can brighten it up with these ones over here, which are a little bit more burgundy and a little bit more pink. And then you've got all these other ones. I just love this palette. This one here is iridescent white goldy green. It's amazing. And this one here, and then of course I love my this is almost a periwinkle, and I love my periwinkle. So sorry that it's so washed out. I'll try and do a little bit of B-roll. So this is such a fun palette, winter palette to work with. I can actually use it a bit in the summertime too, but I tend to really veer this with winter. And another winter palette that I go to, in fact, this one straddles both winter and summer, to be honest with you. This is the Huetopian Dream palette. This is her last Mothership palette. As you can see, I am really enjoying these colors over here. These are actually two astrals. This is not a VR, virtual reality. This is an astral. So you're actually getting two astrals, Blitz astrals in this palette. This one I thought was pinky, but it's actually, again, a bit yellowy on my skin tone. It goes more yellow than pink, more gold than pink. And then this one is the purple one. And then I go into this deep, rich, gorgeous pink. When I want a quickie pink look, I just go into these two here. This is Shockwave and Cosmic Bloom. Go into these two and makes the most, it looks like a kind of an orangey, what is it called again? When orange and pink are mixed together. This kind of looks like that, but it actually veers on my skin tone more pink. And when I put this together now, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful look. This one here is Blitz Extreme. I don't like that name, but anyway, this is a multi-chrome. It veers from kind of a pink burgundy to a green. It's not as strong on the eye, and I don't find it very complimentary. I tend to use this in the one before as an outer corner, not all over the lid, because it just doesn't work for me. But these ones I love. But let me tell you, I love my astrals, but with this palette, she took it to the extreme. This is like, I never thought that I would think that glitter in her astrals would be too much of a good thing, but these ones are too much of a good thing. The glitter literally flies all over the place. It's the most glitteriest, the most pretty of her astrals and the most glittery of her astrals, and they don't stick together well. They kind of fly all over. They fly on your lid. They fly all over your face. They fly in the atmosphere. It's a mess. She did a smart thing when she made her wand. She made the Intensify for her astrals, but she made it with this palette. And listen, you actually really do need it, because if you don't, this stuff is gonna go all over the place, all over your face, all over everything. So I love them, but I have a love-hate relationship with this version of them because they're just too much. They're just a little too much of a good thing. I hope she doesn't continue to do her astrals as extreme as this. Up until that point, she was making her astrals perfect, but these ones, Dame Mother, don't do them like this again, okay, please. And when you advertise this as a pink, make it a pink, because I'm disappointed it does not do pink on me. But anyway, this palette I absolutely love for winter, and I actually absolutely love it for summer. So this one straddles, and I'm in love with it. I use this a lot. My fingers get in there a lot. This one is her Mothership Mega that came out just recently, of course, for the, you know, for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. Has great variety, perfect for winter. In fact, this is another one that could straddle. I would probably use this in the summertime too. So it's, love this light purple, love this light green. Actually, it looks lighter on lighter people, but on my skin tone, I do mix it with this to make it a little bit lighter. These two, I love pairing these together. This is an amazing shadow. Oh my God, this one and this one. In fact, this one reminds me of the one that's in the Huetopian Dreams that I told you that I like to make the pink look out of. I like to make a pink look out of this one too. It's the same sort of fair. This is so amazing. This one is a beautiful color too. So, and I like the way she put this. She made this a bit better than her original Mega, the first one, because the original Mega was cardboard, and this one is more of a like plastic insert, which makes it look more special. It makes it look more bougie, okay? The cardboard was a bit cheap, and to be honest with the Bridgerton, they didn't put this in it. It's not a diamond of the first water, because they should have did this, and they didn't, and I don't understand why. I really don't. This, look at that. Oh my God, seriously? Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, that is so gorgeous. This is why I love her palettes, and this is why I enjoy using these in the wintertime. These gorgeous jewel toned, these rich colors. Ugh, just love it. So the next one up is my customized Natasha Denona Lila palette. And yes, I bought a second one. I bought a second Natasha Denona palette. The first one I used, because I said before, they are magnetized, so I pulled out a lot of them from my first one and put them in my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette, which I customized, which will be coming up next. I do a lot of customization with Natasha Denona's palette. I love the Lila because, to be honest, this is a winter palette, okay? And I love it too is because she did put a bit of the oranges in there, so you can go lighter, you can go brighter, you can actually still use this in the summer because of that. I love this color here. This is Amethyst. This is a beautiful purple because it has blue in it, so it can pull blue, especially if you go with a lighter hand and use a softer brush. It can actually pull blue. I didn't like the mattes in this palette. They were too dark and dusky and was making smoky looks, which is not my thing. So what I did was I pulled out, this is from her tropical palette, her Tropics palette, something like that. It's a tropical palette. So I pulled this out from her Tropics palette. I pulled this out from another palette I cannot remember, and then these ones I pulled out from, I believe, like her cranberry, the 5-pan palette. This is how I customized it so that my mattes are lighter and brighter. I got some light lid colors in there that pair well with the amethyst and the other colors in here. So this is my perfect Lila palette, and I love it for the winter time, and it's just a whole lot of fun to play with. And of course, the famous Natasha Denona customized gold palette. and I made a video on customizing the palette. I also included in the video comparing her old version of the 5-pan cranberry palette with the newer fair where she corrected the mattes in it because they weren't working in the old one. I customized my gold palette because it was too much of a one-note palette. So this is my perfect winter when I want to go gold, when I want to go flashy, when I want to play with those richer tones in the winter time. This is what I go with. When I want to wear a mustard with the gold, and these golds are amazing because this one has like a green in it. It's like that chartreuse green, and then mixing it with that Emmy, chef's again. I want to say chef's kiss and you keep on meowing. So he is in agreement. Chef's kiss for that. And then I love pairing golds and greens with cranberry colors, burgundy, bright burgundies. So you've got this from the cranberry palette that I put in here. So it just makes a beautiful pairing, and I made a video on it. This is my final palette, my final winter palette, and that is my Natasha Denona customized purple blue palette. And I moved things around. I added my old Lila palette into this palette. So there's my Amethyst from the Lila. This is from the Lila. This is from the Lila. I believe this is from Lila. And I moved some of the other colors over. It's got my brighter fair over here mixed with my blues over here, mixed with my pinks in the middle. And it just is the perfect winter Natasha Denona purple blue palette. I'm super happy with this and it works for me. And this is the blue that I use to mix with the blue in the Subliminal palette that went in my crease today. Perfect for toning down and brightening up the blue in the Subliminal palette. Yeah, this is my winter palette. So this is my favorite top 10 top shelf palettes. They're not included in my hands because it's heavy and I don't got enough hands to hold them. But these are my favorite top shelf, top 10 winter palettes. And they're my go-to. They seem to end up on the top shelf on my bathroom. I can't help myself. And there is a lot of Natasha Denona and Pat Mcgrath in the bath. Now listen, when you spend that kind of money and you buy those palettes, I want to use them. They're not for display. They're not for just show off. They are to be used and abused, and I use them and I abuse them, and I am happy to continue it. This is the rascal that loves to do a cameo in every video, and you're hearing him in the background because he likes to be the star of the show. And when mommy's not paying attention to him, he needs to be the star of the show. So this is Emmy. Isn't he the most handsome little thing? Isn't he? And he's got the cutest baby doll face. Hey, Mr. M's? Yes. Let me know what your top 10 winter palettes are, or top 5, or top 3, whatever number you have that it's your favorite that you pull out in the winter and fall months. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you got, and I'm sure everybody else would love to hear what your favorite winter palettes are, what you gravitate to, what are fun and you use. If you want to see how I made this palette, you can just go over here. It's going to be one way or the other. Click on it to take a look at how I got this palette. And if you want to watch a fun unboxing and swatch fest of my Divina multi-chrome glittery eyeshadows, click over here. So anyway, what do I normally say? I even forget what I normally say. Keep on going and keep on glowing. I will. Bye.